Thank you, Program Director. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, friends and fellow sisters and brothers. I stand in front of you this morning to call upon all men to refuse to take risk, but take responsibility. But also I urge you, sisters, mothers, colleagues to those men, mothers to their sons and nephews, to encourage them to refuse taking risk, but take responsibility. For too long in our country, children are growing up without fathers. And gone are the days when we say a place of a woman is in the kitchen and the place of a man in the garden. And as a young boy growing up, I have witnessed my mother consistently waking up early hours of the morning, preparing for my father as early as 4 o'clock in the morning, preparing for my father water to wash. And back in the days, there was no luxury of electricity. She had to make magic to make the water warm. Prepare food for him as well, even his clothes to wear and lunch to go to work. And having done so, my mother would also care for us as her children, 8 siblings. And I was asking myself, where does this woman get time to do all this? When we were back from school, he would give us food. And remember back in the days, out of nothing, she would provide something. My father would come back late hours in the evening, complaining that he's tired. And my mother would have to dish up a dinner for all of us. And having done so, she would have to wash the dishes and would be the last one to go to bed. Friends, this has got to come to an end in our lifetime. For too long, children of our own country are growing without fathers. Even in households where fathers are present, they are emotionally detached from their own children. This has got to come to an end. The legacy of the migrant labor system means that fathers are detached from their own families, and even two have got no experience of an actively involved fathers in their own lives. The public policies of our own country, South Africa, the social norms are not supportive to a positive meaning about parenting, especially for fathers. According to the research done by Linda Rechte, it states that girls in particular, growing up without fathers, develop low self-esteem and are likely to engage in risky sexual behaviors. And at times, they are exposed to the current and the new trend of sugar daddy phenomenon. And they fall pregnant at a tender age, and at times out of wedlock. Currently, we are following a case of 2 young girls whom we picked up in one of our sites in the Western Cape, Michael Mapongwana, 14-year-olds, 2 of them. They were pregnanted by men of my own age, close to 50. And we know for the fact that that's a crime in this country. And as an organization and as activists, we have laid a formal complaint to the police services of this country. Again, the work done by Robert Morel and Professor Refton confirms that in our country, there are high levels of absent fathers in the lives of their own children and also in their own lives of their own partners. 1 out of 2 fathers are absent in the life of their own child. And this stems out from the estimates, around 54% men, and half of those do not have daily contact with their own children. Friends, this has got to come to an end. Sonke, where I spend most of my time and my passion expressed, works across the length and breadth of our country, South Africa. But also we are doing work in the region of Southern Africa Development Community. We are also part of a global initiative called MenCare, which seeks to involve men positively and actively, more than just becoming ATMs or palliative figures, because at times men are being seen as khokos. A child does something wrong, I will tell your dad. Let's not encourage that. Let's encourage them to do what is positive. Sonke, I said, is part of this global initiative that is happening in 28 countries across the globe. And I'm happy to be part of those who are participating in that. We have set up and having visible father schools and parenting schools in our country, particularly in the province of the Eastern Cape and also in the Western Cape. And in these father schools, we really want to engage fathers whilst their partners are pregnant. That's a critical moment. So to an extent that when they tell that the partner is pregnant, they say we are both pregnant because they see themselves as part of that pregnancy. They are exposed to the journey of 9 months of pregnancy. They are part of consultations with the healthcare workers and some with doctors, and they're getting exposed on these biological changes that our women are undergoing. These father schools, we go onto them because we work very close with certain departments within our communities, the Department of Health, Social Services, Justice and Police Services. You would understand why we're working very close with them, because they are very pivotal in child's development. So we recruit these fathers through their partners who come for antenatal sessions. It's not an easy task, but it's a very good task to do. And eventually we engage these fathers in father schools. There's more material around women and pregnancy, but there's less understanding for men and pregnancy. And we are bridging that gap. Friends and colleagues, there's a growing evidence that fathers that are involved in the lives of their own partners, in the lives of their own children, benefits them too as men. They are exposed in the magical moments of pregnancy, but also they are also encouraged to be present during delivery, if it is well with their partners as well. Wow, I call those as magic moments. Because once men are exposed on how you bring children in this world, there will be less street kids out there. There will be less kids going to bed without food because they have seen the pain and agony that women endure when bringing children in this world. Dear friends, you may wonder why I am doing this work. As a young man, like any South African, I grew up during the hard times of South Africa. Friends, I have seen my father. I have not seen my father kissing my mother, but I have seen him many a times beating her up. And that on its own has left me with narrow understanding of what it is to be a loving husband to my wife Thokozile, and to be the best dad to my son Sivenatile and Kutle over there. But doing this work with men and men that are participating in father schools becomes a healing moment for me, but also it becomes a work in progress. And therefore, I want to call upon you, encourage men to refuse taking risk and take responsibility. I love you.